with our ventures team, we recently announced our LPWAN ecosystem fund. So we're investing specifically in all of the stuff that you're seeing at the conference here, and we invest across the up and down the stack, basically. So we invest in networks and devices, expanding the supply side of LoRaWAN and LPWAN. We invest in vertical applications that can kind of pull some demand in for those types of things. And then finally, we accelerate enterprise deployment capabilities by investing in hardware and software solutions that can help with that type of thing. The other thing we do, other than just providing funding for companies in the space, is we are also putting on events like this that can help push the ecosystem forward and showcase some of the smaller companies in the area that might be the innovators of the future. Today, what we're doing is called the LoRaWAN Startup Challenge. We opened it up for applications in March. We got 40 applicants from around the world, representing 19 countries and 6 continents. We narrowed it down to 13 semifinalists who all pitched with our team for about 30 minutes, and then we chose the 5 finalists who will be sitting here today with us, who will be pitching here today with us for a $10,000 prize. They will pitch for 7 minutes, and I will give them a 2-minute warning before they end, and then stop at 7 minutes, and then 5 minutes for Q&A from our judges. Our judges here to the right of me, starting on the left, we have sorry, Simon. Sorry. What's your last name, Simon? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Simon Phillipson from KPN. He's the manager of KPN's Things portfolio. We have Stephen Berard, who's a strategy partner with us at Momenta Partners. And then we have Olivier Seller, who is a fellow with Semtech and is one of the inventors of LoRa. And so they will ask Q&A with the contestants, and then they will be the judges for who wins the $10,000. They will be scored on overall presentation, product market fit, benefit to the overall LoRaWAN ecosystem, and go-to-market strategy momentum. And the winner is going to be announced at the networking drinks at 6 p.m. tonight, so I hope everyone sticks around for that. Without further ado, the first is Asif Hussain from ChirpyWAN.
Hi guys, my name is Asif Hussain. I'm founder of ChirpyWAN. Before starting my own business, I was working as LoRaWAN network engineer with MachineQ. I had hand-on experience, the problems and the challenges we were facing during deploying any LoRaWAN network, whether it is small and large, indoor and outdoor deployment. Those challenges range from how to conduct accurate coverage map, how to manage the network, and how to troubleshoot the network post-installation. So the ChirpyWAN, our solution, the way we do it today is usually carrying that sensor with that laptop, go around, and after that, once we complete our survey, we extract the data from network server and analyze it. Usually there is a lot of gap because we cannot see the live traffic. And the other product in the market, they are not up to the task because it does not give you proper customization of your coverage map or how to solve or manage your network, for example, Audionis and Multitac. Our solution is, it comes as mobile application running on both iOS and Android. It's connect with LoRa module. It's connect with the LoRa module, and you can customize all the parameter. For example, if you want to test your coverage on 40 dBm or 10 dBm, and what channels you want to test, you can customize it and then go around it, and you can see the live traffic. Or if you have troubleshoot the network, you can sniff the package. So it acts as a sensor and the gateway. So it is not just a tool, it gives you the complete deployment solution from prior to solution deployment to the post-solution deployment. So it is, you can configure the transmission cycles. It is a rechargeable battery, so basically a small module you can keep in your pocket or in your, on your hand and go around it. And also once you have conducted coverage and you want to deploy the sensor, you can take the picture of the sensor so you know that where you have deployed that sensor, and it tags all the LoRaWAN information on the picture. And you can upload all that information right on a cloud. You can extract all the information on Excel sheet and other formats. So let's go by that competitive product comparison. For example, sniffer. There's no product available in the market which gives you that sniffer ability, because many times when you deploy the sensor and you need to troubleshoot it, how you want to do it. So our device acts as a gateway, so scan through that all network on the traffic coming from the sensor, and you can see that whether it is a sensor or the sensor is not receiving on a specific downlink. So you can sniff it that, okay, it is your gateway is working properly, but your sensor is not receiving it or not acting upon that message. Or, for example, in Class B, you want to know that if the gateway is sending on every 28 seconds. Live LoRa traffic. So this application gives you the nice view, scan the network from different data rate. You can set the data rate from 0 to 10, or you can test it for 1. For example, if you want to test only on SF7, because it's going to have the last battery longer, so it can give you the capability to do that. Interactive maps. It's used that built-in map of your device on the cell phone. It pinpoint all that areas when you walk around that, okay, how many gateways in the range. And you can extract that information on Excel sheet, or you can see the live on your map. Remote test upload, it is that, okay, once you conduct all that site survey, you need to have just upload that information on wherever the endpoint you are given. You have a gateway mode. Gateway mode, yes, it is a one-channel gateway, basically. So, you can use this device not as simply just a coverage tool, but you can have it as the sensor sending a traffic to the one-channel gateway and using that cell phone backend, backhaul, you can use send the traffic to your application. It does that device mode, payload test, I have discussed that, and picture. So once you take the picture, you can upload it, and Android WAN connectivity test. So the go-to-market strategy is we are going for LoRa network providers, for utility, for example, Machine Q and Orbiwise, whenever they can add this in their portfolio to sell as a deployment services. The solution providers who deploy the solutions, and the system integrators who work with the network providers and add that device in their portfolio. And distributors, we are going also from direct to Arrow, Avanet, and DigiTiki. Our business model is very simple, is that we're selling this as one license per device, and it is a high gross margin business, and we think that on a 500 license, we can break even, and after we can start to add that value. Our team this is Asif Hussain, Kamal Subhani is Android developer, and Hamza Shabazz the Kamal is Android and is iOS developer. Thank you, and now I'm open for any questions.
Thanks, Asif. So questions from the judges?
So how did you calculate the potential market size? I saw something with 9,000 devices you're about to sell.
Sorry?
The potential market size for you?
Yeah, it is for every solution provider or the network provider. So they needed to have the deployment solution to add in their portfolio. So we think that what we calculated that, okay, all the network providers and the solution provider, they need it,
Okay, thanks. And can you tell us a little bit more about your go-to-market? So who's your main customers and what are your sales channels?
So currently we are testing with, and a pilot with the local service provider. And we think that, okay, once we have everything ready, that we can go with that to other providers, the big, large network providers for the not international regions.
Okay, and your sales channels are
Sorry?
direct sales, your sales channels?
Sales channels are direct channels for now.
Thank you, Adif, for your presentation. Can you scan several gateways at the same time?
Yeah. You can scan basically the way it works as a sensor. So you add that all the information of the sensor on your network and you just carry around it. So whenever it sees the gateway on that network, it will gonna find it. Whether it is a 3 gateway sees on a SF10 and the next one is sees on SF7, it sees only 1 gateway, It depends that, okay, but it scans all the gateways around connected to that network.
Do you have in this survey tool support for geolocation performance planification?
You mean the geolocation on LoRaWAN geolocation?
Yeah, the LoRa physical layer geolocation from gateways which do.
Yes, so there is an indoor map. Indoor map, you can upload the indoor map on your on the building you are conducting the map. You're doing the survey, so you can pinpoint your sensor to the gateway where they are. So that's if you're talking about the geolocation as per the LoRaWAN geolocation. I don't know how would it fit in this model, because for the geolocation, it gives you the latitude and longitude, but if you want to have a triangulation, we can add that feature in it because it's a software platform, so you can add anything you want. It's not there yet, but we can do it later.
As you're looking for deployments and whatnot, gateway selection where you place that indoors or even outdoors is a key problem. And in a lot of cases, the people installing those gateways may not be network engineers like our friends at KPN. Do you see your tool as being a way to enable somebody who is not potentially as skilled with all of the complexities of placing gateways and really simplifying that problem? And do you see yourselves having to adapt to your product?
Yeah, you can do that because you can add the feature, have a multiple devices, with this tool, and then you can collect it as, where you need to place that gateway optimally, Currently, it is a 1 device per application, but our device, you can have a multiple devices, and you can see that, okay, where it has to be placed, the optimal gateway, for the coverage. Yes, you can do that, yeah. It can help that.
Cool. And, when you're looking at public versus private deployments, do you see different challenges between those 2 segments of customers?
It depends that, okay, if you are doing outdoor, that is, I don't see much difference in other than if it is indoor, that problem is that, okay, calculating the longitude and latitude and calibrate the map accordingly But if it is outdoor, it is a private or public, it really doesn't matter because it's gonna only see the gateway which are your devices provisioning it. So, it's gonna discard any other packet coming from the other network, Yeah.
Thanks, Asif. That's all the time we have.
Thank you, guys.
Next up is Barak Palat from SkySense.
Hello, I'm Burak from SkySense. I'm a CEO and the co-founder of the company. Thank you for this chance for calling us here. We started our journey in 2015. Before that, we were doing engineering jobs in different companies in our other teams, etc. In 2016, we joined LoRa Alliance member as a first member in Turkey and the Middle East, actually. In 2017, because of all our different technological advancements, we got invested by a VC company, which had been anchored by the European Investment Fund. And 2018, we started our largest project, which is our currently the largest account. It's a Istanbul Airport project. We have a team of 13 people. We have 2 offices in 2 cities in Turkey. We are 2 co-founders. Emrah is here, our CTO. What we are doing is we are trying to have a 360 degrees of application for the industrial areas, for mostly for gray fields, for both indoor and outdoor applications. We are using LoRaWAN, and we are a strong believer of the LoRa, but we added our additional technology on top of LoRaWAN, and it became an industry-oriented technology. And we basically, in our business model, we don't cost any infrastructure costs due to various reasons. So we are aiming for mostly for gray field factories, which are like older than 5 years old, and which is basically like a 95% of the market. And we are mostly providing 4 main applications: efficiency monitoring, condition monitoring, maintenance monitoring, and environmental worker and health and safety applications. We all do that with our own hardware and software layers. Why we are doing that? Because the current offers for the Industry 4 revolution are the pictures like on the left side. But when you go to a factory, they have a quick fix resolution. They have a crane, and that crane is stopped, and they need to see when it stopped and how long does it stop. So they need a quick fix solution. So when you see the results, when you see the expectations, because of not having that technology, the Industry 4 application, they are losing 30% inefficiency. They are not able to deploy those current market solutions because they are mostly too complicated, they are mostly too expensive, and very, very, very not scalable. And how we are doing that, we are doing like this scheme here. It's a basic LoRaWAN scheme actually. But the thing that we added, we are manufacturing our own hardware with our own firmware structure, a different modular structure. And on top of LoRaWAN connectivity, we have additional networking layers, mostly aiming for the additional quality of service and capacity. And we are providing an IoT platform for those 4 applications. So what is our differences? As I said, we are a strong believer of LoRa, but LoRa has its own disadvantages. And to make it right, we added additional layers on top of it, both on the software layer and as a service. So we manage the RF communication on our customers, and we do selective channel allocation, both static and dynamic actually. So because of that, we increase the quality of service. And on our firmware layer, we do micro-edge computing, so devices only transmit the data when they really need it. And we can easily connect to existing SCADA systems, and our IoT platform also can program for additional widgets and additional calculations. So I would like to talk about some of our projects. This happened in one of the biggest ceramics factory in Turkey. They had a problem in their temperature monitoring system because since they are manufacturing ceramics, they need to really control the temperature and the humidity in the area. But they wanted an expandable solution. Because they also have a strategic plan for monitoring all their power consumption machines, so they need something like a SCADA actually, but SCADA was too expensive and too complicated for them. So we deployed our network there, we deployed our devices there, so depending on their calculation, we increased by 30% in efficiency. So another signature project is in the Women Accessory factory in Istanbul. So their problem was the factory was a highly mechanized factories. They have many machines, but they had a really low automation level. So we put our devices there, we put the network, started the network, and again, depending on their calculation, we increased the production speed by around 20 by controlling the labor, actually. And last one, but not the least one, is Istanbul Airport. We started this project around, I think around 1 year ago. The Istanbul airport is currently one of the biggest in the world. It has a 76 million meters square. And when it's completely finished, it will have 200 million passenger capacity. The problem with that environment is it's a really, really intense RF environment because all those electronics in the airport, and it has multiple infrastructure, and it needs a solution both indoor and outdoor with the same network. And it has a multiple user level. For example, like my maintenance guy only want to see if the devices stopped working or not, but the management asks for additional things. So we started with a really small project for the wastewater pumps, but that project became large and added multiple meters, multiple infrastructure, and currently we are working around 10,000 points in the field, and it became like an official network. So we also sell other IoT projects to other tenants in the airport. So why we started that? Because it's better than SCADA in terms of resolution and in terms of easiness. So depending on our calculation, when you compare with other projects, it's 9 times lower, the cost.
All right, Burak, that's
and detail level
that's
is
the time
better.
we got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judges, do you have questions?
Yeah.
Or, thank you, Burak.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
One thing I'm curious about is, you talk about having a full solution here and a platform. How do you reach customers? Who do you have conversations with, and how do you sell your product?
In Turkey, in our region, we do direct marketing, but in global markets, we do partnerships.
One other question too. Actually, it's a two-part question. You mentioned you have a number of devices. Can you describe some of the sensors you have? And then the second part of that question is, for sensors you currently don't make, do you support other standard LoRaWAN capable sensors?
Yeah, that's why we are keeping the LoRaWAN compatibility in our network also. In our devices, we can do micro-edge computing. For example, we have a device which can work with Modbus RTU interface. We can compute, we can add a firmware in this device which can check specific registers on the Modbus device which has been connected. And some registers can be transmitted as alarm data, but some data can be transmitted as a report data. But if we don't have the solution, if we don't have the hardware, we are keeping our network as a LoRaWAN compliant in terms of the frequency usages, like and additional and other protocols. So we can just buy one of them from the market and just add it to our network.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you. A follow-up on this question. So you can add such a device from a third-party vendor, but do you need to adapt the device? Because you said that you've added QoS over LoRaWAN. So do you need to reform the device before you put it on the network?
Actually, most of the QoS addition are being done on the firmware side. So our device are working for the quality of service increase. So the network is still LoRaWAN compliant, so we don't have to adapt anything. Actually, we can just buy it from the market and connect to our network. But it is not going to work as efficient as our device is working in terms of the quality of service. It will just transmit, for example, 15 minutes or something like that.
Does this improved QoS has an impact on battery life of your devices?
It depends, actually. For example, in that Modbus example, some alert data that alert data can be happening only, like once in a month or something. But if it happens, it transmits with additional repetitiveness. But the standard report data only transmit with a 15 minutes. So we consider that power consumption levels when we create the firmware modularity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you're developing hardware and you have your own platform. And you also are doing the network, right?
Yeah.
So that seems quite ambitious for two people.
It
So
is, but we are
in terms of strategy, what is your core product and your
we
core
are not
service?
actually we are not 2 people. We are 13 plus the interns.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we are around 16, 17 people,
Still,
and we have a
still.
VC backed. The thing is, we are not doing for everyone. We are doing only for like small cases or like small customers. So our network supportment labor is not like in the KPN or something like that. We don't work with like tens of thousands of devices in the public network. We only have like customers, and that customers need to say someone to manage their network, and it's on only single screen actually. So it's not hard as it looks actually.
Okay. So let's say you're scaling up. So what would be your core strategy in terms of your services? Will you
what
remain
do you
as an end-to-end service provider then?
We are trying to become a Slack, the company. The Slack probably, the messaging services for the greenfield factories actually. We are trying to expand ourselves in that market, in that 90% of the industry who are not using Industry 4 applications currently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barak.
Thank you.
Next, we have Matthias with Connected Fresh. Okay.
You're still clicking.
I know, I need to get it over.
And you started my timer already.
There you go.
Can I have more time back?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Matthias Papillo, and I'm the CEO of Connected Fresh. Along with my partners, Catherine and Jake, we've been leading this new venture for about 18 months. We're located in St. Louis, Missouri, USA, in the heart of big agriculture. And what we've developed is a series of products to enable complete real-time monitoring. Connected Fresh harnesses IoT to reduce food waste and improve health safety by ensuring storage and delivery of fresh ingredients in cold chain environments. Our leadership team has a combined experience of over 30 years delivering digital solutions to customers. We've run successful startups in the past, as well as worked for some of the largest consulting firms in the world. Building upon this experience, we know how important it is for a company to solve the right problem. We know that solving world hunger and farm-to-table tracking is too big for any one company. Often new companies attempt a task that ends up being too large and they fail. We have a laser focus on a solvable problem and have built a solution to help companies with outdated methodologies, too large to function, and an over-reliance on manual labor processes. The comprehensive solution we have built to solve these problems is IoT devices, a comprehensive platform with built-in data analytics, and professional services to help companies implement and install connected devices. Using our deep technical skill set, industry expertise, along with talking with clients and other industry experts, we have wrapped up our product development stage and narrowed our product line down to 2 products. The first is Hummingbird, an active monitoring solution meant for real-time temperature reading and comprehensive alerts and notifications based on smart environment thresholds. The second is Lumberjack, designed as a no-touch data logging device with 0 headaches and that enable companies to have reliable record keeping. Sorry. We know our products are market ready based on the traction we've already received and seen in the market. We have deployed these solutions at major sports venues like the Indianapolis 500 and the PGA Championship, restaurant chains like Dunkin' Donuts, cold chain logistic companies, and my dad's produce warehouse. Speaking of my dad, my family has a 115-year history in the produce industry. Firsthand, I know what it's like to have thrown away an entire shipment of tomatoes because of equipment failure. And I knew that there had to be a solution to this problem, it just hadn't been developed yet. We began Connected Fresh trying to implement out-of-the-box systems, and that turned out to be a complete failure. These systems were based on technology like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and they couldn't get signal out of the facilities and couldn't solve the problem for our customers. So that brought us back to the drawing board. After much trial and error, we came to our LoRaWAN awakening. Our first test device had me walking blocks through the city of St. Louis, trying to see how far the signal would go. And it proved that the devices not only worked better in our cold chain environments, but it proved that we could use it for all of our use cases. Thus far, our LoRaWAN products have been successful at getting through concrete, steel, machinery, people, and really delivering that data right to the customers. All right, now that we have a product, let's go to market. Our strategy is about communicating our products and services to product safety and operations teams. We think that we have identified 8 to 10 types of clients that would generate value by having our products and services. Our goal is to increase exposure to these industries and show them how our product will create efficiencies and value for them. One of the reasons our strategy is going to be successful is the completeness of our solution. Our solution is not a technical, generic solution that went looking for a problem. It's a complete package designed to solve a specific use case. The Connected Fresh solution is easy to implement, no digital skills necessary. You can plug it in and it works. We have a superior advantage because of the ease of implementation and the completeness. It's proven to work on day one. What we need next is to secure pre-seed and seed funding to go to market. We've been bootstrapping our operations thus far and are hoping to bring in investors and partnerships to grow to the next level. In our growth, we hope to secure mass-produced devices, grow a dedicated software development team, execute and scale our sales and marketing plan. With this funding, we hope to grow to 500 new customers over the next 12 months. Thank you for listening about Connected Fresh today, and we look forward to being members of the LoRa Alliance. It's a really big deal to us, and we look forward to connecting with people about advice, partnerships, and leadership on how we can be better members of the community. And, oh yeah, let us save as much food as possible. Marketing team got that one.
Thanks, Matthias.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I have one question. Who in the supply chain in your business is going to be your customer, and why?
The product safety and product operations teams. They're responsible for maintaining food quality over supply chain. And in fixed position assets, those are the people responsible for keeping food cold. And our job is to highlight and alert and notification the temperature to them.
Okay, thank you.
So I believe that so far you're using off-the-shelf devices to approach your first customers. Why do you need to develop specific devices? Because I guess temperature sensors are fairly common.
Right, yeah, we are building our own device, but as a rule of thumb, our platform is designed as bring your own device, so we are looking to use existing devices if we can. There's no reason to really truly build a custom device except for our custom use case of software. So we write custom rules down at the edge and custom analytics to do more than just interval-based threshold temperature monitoring. So as soon as we get a device that lets us program down to the edge, we'll use that one. Until then, we'll keep making ours.
Because I thought in your presentation that from the money you're seeking, you plan to develop a specific devices, or did I misunderstood?
Yeah, we build our own specific devices for now. Yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
You know, in your presentation, you talked a little bit about some of the challenges of using technologies such as Bluetooth and Wi-Fi in the distance. And then you solved that, obviously, with LoRaWAN. What are your other biggest challenges as you're going forward? What are the things that you've done, and how have you overcome those?
So the biggest thing so far is to take complacency out of the environment. So right now, today, temperatures are monitored on a clipboard with a pencil. And that process has been exactly the same since 1912 when my great-grandfather did it. And so we have a 100-year history of operations that we have to adjust. Thankfully, we have skills in going digital for companies and bringing that digital experience to new people. So we are overcoming that challenge with time.
Good. Second question is, you mentioned the clipboard. A lot of times in these environments, those clipboards have to be collated and reported back for compliance reasons. Do you see the need to provide ways to integrate into on-premise systems that, compliance systems, ERP systems, and whatnot on site? And is that another challenge that you see your company addressing?
Yes, we see that as an issue, and yes, we've already solved it. Our platform is already integrated into SAP and Oracle ERP systems, as well as scheduled, downloadable, printable PDFs. So we've already planned for both the integration and the export of the data.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthias. Next, we have Mark Weiss of Polygravity.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Mark, I'm the CEO of Polygravity. As Donna already said in her little entrance speech this morning, the standardization of LoRaWAN is moving along very nicely. And at Polygravity, we believe that it is now the time to look into how can we really make it easy for networks to interoperate. And that's where we come in with enabling LoRaWAN network providers to monetize on their roaming traffic. However, there are some problems with that, namely 3. The first one that we see is that we believe that the future of LoRaWAN network landscape is very fragmented. You'll have a ton of different networks that pop up from companies such as ABB or Bosch that will be looking to monetize on their infrastructure. And it's going to be unscalable to actually negotiate contracts with all of those relatively small networks that want to monetize by roaming. The second problem that we see is that there might be billing discrepancies between carriers, such as we see them in voice wholesale today, that eradicates the trust between 2 carriers. That definitely needs to be solved. And the third problem that we see is that data packets themselves have a very, very low value per packet. And so if you travel with a sensor through one network and send 5 uplinks, then you somehow need to exchange value over 30 cents, and no single bank is going to do that. Right, so what does Polygravity provide actually? So we are a protocol stack, and the 2 top layers, they look like this. You have a contract exchange protocol, meaning that if carrier A is roaming in carrier B's network, then carrier B realizes this and sends a digital contract to carrier A. Says, hey, listen, I'm receiving your traffic. For this amount of money, you can get it back. And then carrier A countersigns the contract if he agrees with the terms. Then these 2 contracts that are countersigned now, they get stored in local blockchains. No worries, I'm not trying to sell you Bitcoin or anything here. We just purely rely on the data structure technology to make it impossible for different network providers to actually lie to each other when it comes to how much has been billed in the network, when it comes to the usage of their respective networks. And then you have, on each side, you have inventories that get updated to according to how much euros and data packets have been exchanged. That is the rough outline of our product. So what we do with that is this. So when you have a traveling sensor, and keep in mind this is a mobile use case, of course there are static use cases as well in roaming, but in a mobile use case you'd have a sensor that travels through different networks, and then each of these network servers would have our software installed, and then depending on the traffic that the network server reads, contract suggestions are sent back to the home network, and if the home network agrees, it will countersign these contracts, which in the end synchronizes both networks, which is really important because that way you have a real-time overview if your billing amount is synchronized on both sides. So we have there are massive issues with this in the voice wholesale business, for instance, where you have constant discrepancies in billing, and this mechanism rules that out in LoRaWAN from the get-go. And then in the end, of course, after the contract is signed, the data packet is transferred. Now, this is, of course, a very micro-scale scenario, right? So you don't have to do contracts on a per-packet basis. You can do that more macro, saying that we're going to do this once per every month, or once per every week, and so on and so forth. As granular as you like to really keep monitoring that the traffic measured is accurate on both sides. Right, now for the scenario of micropayments, nobody wants to touch cryptocurrencies, let's face it. And in the end, what we thought of here is that if there are smaller scale networks that actually require micropayments, then there will be a trust facility that we set up that you sign up with, and that in the end distributes the actual currency amount that you're owed, and which allows for microtransactions amongst smaller networks. We can talk about that in the Q&A when have a closer look. This is of course not required by larger carriers, such as our first customer. So the stress tests are very positive. We're able to actually process 12,000 data packets per second with an iMac, which is really great. So as soon as your server structure or performance scales up, the performance of our software will scale linearly with it. Now, what's our business model? We are relatively easy. We're super easy to adopt. We are open source as well. Because we optimize the process between two networks at the same time, they're incentivized automatically to spread us throughout their own network of other partners that they have. Our business model is very easy. We have implementation support, maintenance support, and we take a transaction fee as soon as the amount of transactions in the network surpasses a certain level. Our first customer is Unity Media, a German carrier. They are rolling out a Germany-wide LoRaWAN network, and our first lower protocol layers are implemented with them already, as we will be seeing in a second. And the next step for us is to start integrating with Unity Media's partners, which is why this event is really great for us. Cool, demo time. Can we quickly switch to the website for just a second? Thank you very much. So this is the TETSNet. Obviously, we unfortunately cannot show you the actual Unity Media product here. But what you see here is a query of the blockchain of Unity Media, or an example, therefore, how this would look like. And what you see here, unfortunately, it's a bit small. You have a commitment deadline and a settlement deadline. These are essentially time deadlines that tell the receiver of a contract when it is about to expire. So there is a certain duration for how long this contract is valid, which makes it possible that if networks overlap, they can each send a contract suggestion for a transfer of a certain data packet, for instance. So there can be competition between networks about that. Then obviously you have our client, which is a modified IPv6 address right there. Our reference is sort of an invoice number. Their client is obviously then our IPv6 address. And then you have debit inventories that are also IPv6 addresses that essentially specify if a euro account is charged or a data packet account is charged. Then you have down there, you have a description which enables you to like categorize the specific contract. Yes.
Thank you, Mark. That's
You're
all the time
welcome.
we have.
This would be the last slides to team, but that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Judges have questions?
Thank you. So you've made a very fundamental technical choice of doing peer-to-peer transactions. Why did you choose to go peer-to-peer versus a centralized system? Or why is it better to do it so?
So when we're talking about transactions, do we talk about actual value exchange, as in the microtransactions that I was speaking about earlier on this slide?
Yeah, the microtransaction from operator A to operator B.
Yeah, yes.
It could be centralized.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
choose to have it peer-to-peer.
Yes. Well, not really peer-to-peer. There's two things about that. First of all, our sweet spot is the enterprise market. And as such, this solution is usually not required. Unity Media does not want to use microtransactions as an actual value transfer system because they have relatively large established partnerships already in other business segments with carriers such as Orange, KPN, and so on and so forth. So there's no need of actual microtransactions between those two parties because they have established processes for that. This is really just for relatively small to medium-sized networks that might end up with tiny amounts of data packets being transferred up their network and having to facilitate a value exchange there. The way this works, and I'm kind of glad you asked about this, is that it is centralized. So there is no cryptocurrency involved anywhere in this. So what's happening in this scenario is that you have a contract with an association. Let's see, it's a decentralized organization that is governed by the parties that would have the most roaming traffic up there. And they would be connected to a trust. And so you would have a contract with them, and then you would the polygravity engine that you have on your system then essentially accounts for all the data packets and value that you transfer with other networks in real time. And then as soon as you want to withdraw value from that, or you have to pay up for the value that you've used, then you need to start interacting with this association or this trust that then distributes the value. So instead of having one party sending one data packet on every network and not being able to transfer that, you can have like 15,000 of those parties that do the same thing, but they accumulate, of course, and the trust can then pay out that accumulated amount of money. That would be the general idea there, but it's an idea, it's a concept, nothing more. Okay, thanks.
So from an applications perspective, say I'm somebody building an application, my device is Roam.
Yeah.
Your solution is used. What changes do I have to do and what impacts do I have from an application? So this is completely behind the scenes from the network perspective.
Yes, that's correct. This is entirely used by the network operator, such as Unitymedia, ABB, Bosch, you name it.
We've also talked about larger networks. You mentioned a little bit about enterprise.
Yes.
I'm assuming this would also work on a private or a community network such as TTN or
Yes.
a private network that I would
Yes, it would. Yeah, that's correct.
And then the obligatory cryptocurrency question. One of the criticisms you see with a lot of cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, is energy consumption. Do you have that impact based on the technologies you've chosen?
So the way we use blockchain is really, we have no scalability limits and we have no energy requirements. We have no global consensus algorithm. This is going to be a bit blockchain-y technical, sorry for that. And what we do is essentially that every node, it's called the LNS server, has a local private blockchain where just all the contracts are being stored and the blocks are hashed within each other. And of course, then you could say, okay, but now an operator can just change their own blockchain and then just claim it, right? Well, that doesn't work because with every contract exchange there is in the network, the hash of the current state of that chain is transferred to the other chain. And so you get an interwoven web of different private chains that cannot be altered anymore. But that doesn't require consensus, a global consensus anymore, but just local consensus between the two parties. So it's a completely different system. Cryptocurrency is a terrible idea for enterprise in our eyes, because there's so many issues with it. Scalability limits, it's a massively volatile asset on your balance sheets, it's not anti-money laundering regulation compliant, and that's the feedback we get as well from companies like Cisco and Unitymedia. They say, listen, we have no interest in dealing with cryptocurrency. So this is also why we came up with this trust infrastructure, because this would be a way to facilitate micro transaction or micro value exchange without having to involve any type of cryptocurrency.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. That's all the time we have.
Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Thomas Sukje with SenseEdge.
Hello, good afternoon. Here we go. My name is Tomas, as Lee presented me. I come from company SenseEdge, and we are developing innovative IoT solutions. We work in the field of IoT, and really quickly we realized there are numerous platforms for data manipulation. There's a handful of connectivity options as well. But what was missing was like reliable and quality sensors. And there is also a saying on the blog, and it says hardware is hard, and it's true. And that's what we realized with our project when we opened a microclimate network initiative to test the market. So we deployed temperature, relative humidity, and air pressure sensors, our first version. We tried existing solutions. They were not suitable, so we developed our own. And we have deployed more than 200 sensors in more than 15 countries. And then we went around. We had some conferences. We have given our sensors away to community, also to individuals who were more interested in business side of this idea. So we get a lot of inquiries from different verticals, such as agriculture, buildings, cities, data centers. We made some test integrations based on requirements from the market, some of these guys here, and we formed some partnerships. And then we said, okay, it's the next step is needed. We have to develop an industrial-grade sensor. And we did, and we call it SenseTick. In its first version, it's a temperature, relative humidity, and air pressure sensor. And it has many features that are all listed. I'm glad to explain it at our stand outside, but it's three things in essence. It's reliable, it generates quality data, and it looks sexy. Because we believe that sensors should not be just black and white boxes, because at the end they're chosen by people and they have to look at it and they have to choose it, and it should look nice. Some of the integrations that we have already made, some private deployments, are mainly for harsh environments and outdoor environments. So if we look how we are going to make money. So we started with public deployments. We have given away the sensors. It's a really nice marketing strategy. It also takes a lot of time, that's true. But it also started private deployments. And by the end of this year, we're going to have 10 deployments with 100 sensors each. But there's the next question, okay? There's going to be, a lot of sensors in the future, right? And this is the biggest part of our business model. We want to partner with established IT service providers who know their sales channels, they know their customers, they know their pains. They want to enter into IoT world they don't know anything about. Here we come as a partner. We provide our sensor, we modify it, and provide it in this partnership with zero margin price, and then we share profit from the revenue. We all know the market, IoT market is huge, right? So we don't need to talk about it, but we think that we can conquer in next 3 years $10 million. This is our goal. A lot of competition, as I said before, a lot of nice, good work with professional sensors, nice competition, we like them all, and we think we belong among them. But our competitive edge would be exactly this easy integration with third-party platform providers, because we also provide middleware for managing sensors, which is crucial for guys from IT services because they don't have that knowledge. They just want to do something with data. We have already invested a lot with our, FFF, sorry. Or best friends, that's true also. And we are seeking investment 500,000. Majority of these funds will go for marketing, sales, some of it for R&D and material costs, of course. This is our team. We've been working together for several years in research projects, in consulting, in also startups. Myself, I have 10 years of experience in experimental methods. It happens also a PhD. And there is no picture. Oh, here it is. And in the last 5 years, I've been involved in consultancy in energy building and also in the last 2 years in startups. Luca, he's an experienced co-founder in tech startups, also my co-founder of the SenseEdge. Dorian, he is profound in hardware development. We have Luca, who made our sensor sexy. And Maya, she is a community manager. Okay, so we've been quite involved in TTN, especially here in Slovenia. We organize conferences. We think that community is a really great start for IoT, and we want to make it to business level, to push it to business level. And that's the thing about IoT. We think that we have to connect and build IoT together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tomasz. Judges, your questions?
Thank you. So your device has a temperature and air quality sensors, right?
Yeah. For now, it has that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what types of use cases and specifically what verticals do you focus on?
As I said, we are working with partners like local integrators. Our biggest market would be, for now, Australia. Applications that we are looking at right now with this particular sensor, also with add-on Solar Shield, is agriculture. Smart city applications, energy-intensive industry, also with a bit of domain knowledge because of my background. We are searching, and also we have performed some tests with logistics also.
Okay, thank you. So you're working with a, let's say, sell-through strategy, so with IT partners.
Yeah.
So we all know sometimes sales cycles in this phase of IoT can be long. How do you, with just a hardware focus, influence on that sales cycle and with that your commercial success?
So we have together, for instance, now we're working on a project for waste management because we have developed it's a fragment of our sensor. It's a new version of technology which is super cheap compared to existing sensors. And we have found the niche together because they know the market really well. And then we tried with some pilots and got some, of course, feedbacks, and that's how we are slowly tackling the right sweet spot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I agree your sensor is super nice looking, super sexy. So recently you sold it directly to your customers, and you said your strategy is to go through integrators.
Yeah.
If you do that, you might lose the link to the customer. You want to convince your product is the sexiest on earth. Isn't it a risk?
It is a risk, but at the same time you have to make revenue, right? So as it is for let us say business to customer part, we're gonna sort of support still with community, selling this sensor lower price for the community just in order to expand the network, to raise awareness about IoT. It's a marketing approach, but then again for private integration it's crucial not just to sell the sensor, but to find really niche markets that we can conquer with adjustment of our sensor. This is crucial for us, this part.
Okay, thanks.
So earlier on in one of the slides you said hardware is hard. So as a small company, how are you making hardware easy and scalable so that you can reach device volumes and responsivity to customers?
Thank you for your question. The greatest thanks goes to our team because it's very experienced, like 15 years in developing hardware. We are leveraging projects from the past, still running, especially in the field of consumer electronics. So we have all the facilities for the mass production, which are outsourced, of course. We have the whole IPR of the product. We are developing the thing, but for the production, we have partners, established partners, so we can produce in big masses right away.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.